So, if you've got kids, summer holidays is drawing to a close. It goes quick, doesn't it? If you're a teacher, it goes even quicker. Back at school in just a few weeks' time, never mind. But hopefully, I don't know if you've managed. Has anyone managed to have a holiday so far? Few of us have. Is anyone still waiting to go on holiday? Some people put their hand up twice then. They've been on holiday. They're waiting to go on holiday again. I don't know about you. I look forward to holidays. Holidays are good. We all look forward to a break, don't we? We all look forward to a rest. We all look forward to a little bit of a reset, unless you're like one of those weird workaholic people and you don't want to go on holiday. If that's you, then give me your holiday. I'll happily help you out. We went on holiday. We're looking forward to another holiday next week. And we do this a couple of times a year. There is no Sunday gathering. There's no activities. We've got activities this week. The week after that, there's nothing. And that's intentional because people work really hard to put this on. And actually, rest is important. Rest is biblical. Rest is good. And so we're having a Sabbath Sunday. Don't show up next Sunday here at Langgold. You can show up at Woodhouse in the evening at 5:30, S13 7LA, if you need the postcode for that. But there's a rest, there's a gathering. There's no gathering because rest is good. And sometimes we need that little bit of a reset. But if you're like Sarah Morgan, who put her hand up because she's been on holiday and she's going on holiday again, this is what I suspect happens with most of our holidays, okay? You go on holiday, you begin to rest. You sat on the beach or you're walking around London or whatever it is you do to relax. You start to relax. It's all nice. By the end of your holiday, you're feeling so wound down. It's great. Then you come home and then you go to work on Monday morning. And after an hour, you forgot that you had a holiday. Is that just it's not just me because I work with really good people. But I'm sure in your workplaces, they're not as good as in my workplace. But you need, it's like your holiday's gone because you've tried to kind of reset, but you've jumped back into kind of this situation and the reset has gone. Because I think all of us, we crave kind of a reset of our lives. We crave resets in certain areas. We crave rest. We just want a pause and to go again. And we do that in kind of our own strength. And we go on holiday and we have days off, but they don't last. I want to look at a reset that God gives us this morning, though. A little bit of a deeper reset, a little bit of a better reset, a reset that lasts. It's not a Microsoft reset, which we've been doing today on our Apple products, actually, and on our Rudo. See, a Microsoft reset is, when something breaks down, like your computer breaks, your internet breaks, you turn it off and you turn it back on again. Anyone do those? That is my technical knowledge. That is all that I know. Turn it off, turn it on again. And quite often, that works. Until the next day, when you have to do that reset again. You see, here's what I found about that kind of reset. It doesn't work long term. Because with our computer at the back, we had to do that reset this morning. I also had to do that reset on Wednesday. And I also had to do that reset last Sunday. Which tells me it might work temporarily, but it doesn't work long term. God wants to offer us a better reset for our lives. A better reset, a pause, a moment to say, hey, let's stop here and let's go again in a slightly different direction. Let's go again, but with me. In Hebrews 12, Jesus, the author says this. He says, therefore, since we were surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and our sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and the perfecter of our faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. And I love that line. It says here, the pioneer. So he's the starter of our faith. He started us on that journey. He is the one that created that journey for us. He's the one that's made the way. He's the pioneer of it, but he's also the perfecter of it. You see, he's not just there right at the beginning of our faith journey, to start us off, although he is there at the beginning of that journey. He's the perfecter of it. So he's there throughout. He's there in the middle. He's there at the end. And he's there right now saying, hey, I want to perfect the walk that you have with me. I want to help you. I want to give you a reset. I want to help guide you today so that it's not just me there at the beginning, but it's me with you right now. I want to perfect that faith, the perfecter of our faith. He wants to offer us a reset. And in John chapter 8, we read this story of Jesus giving this lady a reset in her life. You see, what's just happened is Jesus, he's been in the temple and he's been arguing with the Pharisees. He's been arguing with the religious leaders of the day. They've been discussing different things and they've had differences of opinion. And then it says this in verse 1 of John chapter 8, but Jesus went to the Mountain of Olives. So he's given himself a little bit of time. He's paused. He's gone off. And then verse 2, and then at dawn, he appeared again in the temple courts. You know, some of you struggled to get up this morning to get here for 10:30. But Jesus was there at the temple courts at dawn. And so were the people. Early in the morning, they got up. We've not got any curtains in our room at the moment. So we're getting up at the crack of dawn. When the sunlight rises, we're up. But Jesus, he's there at the beginning of the day. He's there at dawn. And he appears and he's there. And the people there gathered around him. And he sat down to teach them. And that's kind of how they would teach then. They would sit down and people would stand up. So if I sit down, you guys all have to stand up to listen to me. And then, so Jesus, he's there in the temple, he's teaching. And the teachers of the law and the Pharisees, they brought in a woman caught in adultery. And so Jesus, he's having a nice day, he's teaching people, and then here come the Pharisees again, these people that he's been discussing things with, arguing stuff over with, and they brought in this woman caught in adultery. And they made her, this poor woman, stand before the group. Now, they did this because they did not like Jesus. This was not about the woman, this was not about really anything, but this was about trying to trap Jesus. They wanted to catch him out. So they said to Jesus, they made her stand before the group and said to Jesus, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. In the law, Moses commanded us to stone such women. Now, what do you say?" And they were using this question as a trap in order to have a basis for accusing him. This isn't the point of the message today, but it's a really good point for life. The next line, Jesus bends down and starts writing on the ground with his finger. Next time you see an argument going on Facebook, next time you see someone trying to trap you out, so next time you see someone trying to bring you down, don't always think that you need to respond with your words. Sometimes just sit down and don't say anything. And it might help you not get caught into all of those traps. So Jesus bends down and he starts writing on the ground with his finger. And when they kept on questioning him, he straightened up and he said to them, "Let any one of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." And again, he stooped down, writing on the ground. You know, John, he doesn't tell us what Jesus was writing. We could guess, we can make some presumptions. He could be writing down some of the stuff that they've done wrong, some of the sins that they've done, maybe the names of the people that they have done wrong to or done wrong with. But at this, those who had heard began to go away one at a time, the older one first, until Jesus was only left with the woman still standing there. And Jesus straightened up and he asked her, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" "No one, sir," she said. "Then neither do I condemn you," Jesus declared. "Go now and leave your life of sin. It's a beautiful story. It's a lovely picture of God's forgiveness, of God's grace, of God's love, of the fact that actually it doesn't matter where we are, what we've done, whatever we've been caught up in, Jesus offers us a new way, a reset of our lives. You see, this poor woman, she comes in, she gets dragged in. She's caught in the act of adultery, and she gets dragged into the temple by all of these religious leaders, by all of these people. And at that moment, this woman probably thought, hey, my life is over. She knew the system of the day, the laws of the day, meant she was going to be stoned. She had lost not only her life, but if somehow that was saved, her credibility, her reputation, everything was about to go. Her family, her husband. She knew she was guilty, and she stood there confused. She stood there desperate. She stood there alone. But Jesus in this story also stands there, and he offers her a reset of her lives. I don't know what you need a reset in, but Jesus today is offering us a reset to say, hey, come with me. You can fill in your own gap. Jesus, will you reset mine? Will you reset my marriage? Will you reset my faith? Will you reset my self-image? Will you reset my self-worth? Will you reset these feelings and these thoughts that I have about someone else? Jesus, will you reset my journey? Jesus, will you reset it? Because that's the Jesus that we serve. That's the God that we serve. He wants to reset. And it doesn't matter how long or how short a time you've known Jesus. Sometimes we all need a reset because we all fall short. We all mess up. We all fail. We all have mistakes. We all get tired. We all miss God's best for our lives. And Jesus offers us a reset. He offers us a full life, because when we mess up, because when we sin, because when we make those mistakes, or whenever life just gets on top of us, gets us down, we're not living the full lives that God wants for us. But Jesus is offering us today a reset. His reset is different. It's not just an on and an off button. It's not a reset that's filled with guilt, but it's a reset that is guilt-free. I love his response to this woman. Jesus, he gets down, he writes these words down on the sand, and he says to the leaders, hey, you who is without sin, cast the first stone. And all it needed was one to say, hey, that's me, to cast the first stone, and then the rest could have joined in. But none of them did. None of them did, because they all knew that they themselves had failed. They themselves had messed up. And then he turns to this woman, because Jesus could have cast the first stone. Jesus, who was without sin, could have said, hey, yeah, you shouldn't have done that. And he could have cast that stone. But he said, where are your accusers? Where are those that condemned you? They are gone. And neither will I condemn you. Now go and leave your sin behind. And I love that grace-filled approach that Jesus has. Hey, I know your life, and I know how you stand. I know how desperate you feel. I know the thoughts of your heart. But I don't condemn you. I give you a grace-filled response today. Now go. Start your life again. And Jesus offers each and every one of us, wherever we are, whatever situation, whatever your reset is, he offers us that today. Jesus, will you reset mine? Jesus, will you reset this in my life? That's the offer that he has for us today. Now, there's stuff that we can do to help us on that journey, and I'm not going to go into all of those things today. But I want us to know, and maybe there's people watching online today, that Jesus offers you a reset of your life. Here's what I realized as I was reading this story this morning, not this morning, I did write this preach earlier than this morning, last night, no. This woman, she didn't come looking for a reset. This woman was in the very act of sin when she was caught. She was caught in a mess. She did not wake up that morning and think, hey, I'm going to come to Jesus today. I'm going to come to Jesus and turn away from my mess and get myself fixed today. She didn't break things up with the man that she was in adultery with and then say, hey, I'm going to come to Jesus. She got caught in the very act. And she got dragged in front of Jesus. She got dragged in front of the temple leaders. She got dragged in front of the religious leaders of the day. Her intention that morning when she woke up was not to find Jesus, was not to have a reset of her life. But Jesus found her that day. Jesus saw her where she was, and he gave her a reset. Maybe you think, before I can have that reset in my life, before, I can start this new journey, before I can get Jesus to be the perfecter of my faith, the finisher of my faith, I've got to do this, this, and this. And you know what? There's a journey that is involved for each and every one of us. And maybe you came to the church this morning just because it's what you do on a Sunday morning, but you had no intention of really having a deep and meaningful with God. But Jesus has found you this morning. Maybe, your life is in a complete mess. Maybe your thoughts are in a complete mess. Maybe your relationship with God is in a complete mess this morning. And you're just here because this is what you do, or this is kind of where you've ended up, or you're just watching this online. But just like that woman, you might have not had an intention today of having the reset, but Jesus is offering it to you today. He's saying, hey, come to me. Let me give you the life that I've promised. Let me give you the life that I've offered you. This full life. What God is offering you today, it's not limited. There's no application form. There's no deposit that needs to be paid. There's no criteria. He's offering you a reset. That woman caught in adultery was offered the reset. And Jesus reset her life that day. She could walk out of that place and she could leave her sin behind, knowing that the one person that could have condemned her didn't. And it gave her that fresh life. And Jesus today says to you, hey, you know what? I could condemn you. I could judge you. But I don't. I'm offering you a new way, a different way this morning. And so let's come to Jesus. I don't know what your gap is. Jesus, will you reset mine? But let's give it to Jesus right now. We're going to sing this song, and as we sing, you can respond and you can say to Jesus, Jesus, will you reset my spiritual journey? Will you reset my walk with you? Will you reset my relationship? God, will you reset my self-worth? God, will you reset these thoughts that I have? Jesus, we thank you that you offer us a new way, that you offer us life this morning, that you offer us freedom this morning, that you offer us forgiveness this morning, God. Even though you could judge us, even though you could condemn us, God, today you've offered us a reset. Lord, and I pray that we would step into that reset. God, that we would accept the reset that you give us. And that we would leave this place this morning, starting that new journey, that we would see that we are not condemned, and we would go, and we would start the new life that you have for us. We pray. Amen.